Back to another episode of Lead Up for Women. Speak Up to Lead Up. Today is episode number 137, and we're going to be diving in all about prioritizing yourself. You all know how important that is to me, because if we do not pour into our cups, how do we have anything left to pour into others? And today, I want to thank the adventures of Julie Jones, as she has sponsored today's show. This episode is being sponsored by Julie Jones with the Adventure of Julie Jones and the Get Shit Done coaching platform. Are you an entrepreneur who'd like to get more done, be more productive, and be more effective in communication without losing your sanity? Julie provides one-to-one coaching, workshops, speaking memberships, all customized for your specific needs. There is no cookie cutter approach here when it comes to you living your best life. Are you ready to get serious about taking action with your life and business? Are you ready to move to the next level? Take action now and visit Julie's website at www.juliejones.biz to book a free 30-minute call with her. And we are so happy that she is our sponsor today and a good friend of mine. And today is actually November 17th. I know you're listening to this at a later date, but she just released her very first book today. It's been a dream of hers for a long time, and it became a #1 national bestseller. So congratulations to Julie Jones. And today we have the opportunity and the pleasure to be speaking with Miss Becca Powers, who just got back from Unleashed with Tony Robbins. Exciting. In fact, Julie Jones was supposed to be at Unleashed this last week with you, Becca. She would have been in the same wooing in the same room that you were in. Unfortunately, her husband had a major accident and wound up in ICU. And so she wasn't able to go. And so unfortunately, she said that it was a blessing in disguise that she didn't go. So we just never know what things are going to happen in our lives that keep us from doing something that we think we want to do, right? And I know Tony Robbins would agree with that. You got to listen to your intuition and listen to your heart. So let me talk a little bit about Becca. So my listeners here, you guys really want to get to know her. And of course, you can always watch our videos on Facebook. And of course, leadupforwomen.com is where you'll find all of our resources, including our podcasts, etc. Becca Powers is an award-winning high-tech sales executive and motivational speaker with over 20 years of experience. Her career boasts Fortune 500 giants such as Dell and Cisco. Familiar with both of those. From growing up with musician parents who flirted with addiction to dropping out of college and becoming a single parent of 2 by the age of 28, Becca's guts and grit journey to success reaches beyond business. As a motivational speaker, she empowers women, love that, to prioritize themselves for a more fulfilling, joyful life. And that is why we're talking about prioritizing ourselves today. So Becca, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me, Colleen.
Absolutely. It is such a pleasure. And I want to know, when was prioritizing yourself something that became relevant and prevalent for you? You know, we go through life so much, I feel, blind by doing life by default is what I call it, versus by design. When did you decide to design your perfect life?
I think it stems from what you were saying about, I was in, I call it like robot mode. I had been powering through, that's a term I use a lot, my day-to-day life. I knew that there's some situations weren't supporting me the best, but I was in a mindset of like, I'm resilient, I'm going to power through, or I'm going to do my affirmations and all really positive things. But I was also really dismissing how I was feeling. And I was prioritizing work, family, and everything over myself. So much so that in one day, in complete exhaustion after a bad day at work, I hit the bathroom floor. I don't know if you've ever had a bathroom floor moment, but I had my bathroom floor moment. And it was kind of at that point that I was like, I need to do things differently.
Yeah, you know, I'm trying to I can't remember what her name is right now. She was on a panel of mine in 2019, and she had one of those. She was married to an NFL football player, and she was on one of our panels in Georgia when we did in Atlanta, Georgia in 2019, when we launched Lead Up for Women in May. We had a luncheon in person there. This was before pandemic. and she had a bathroom floor moment, but her bathroom floor moment included a gun.
Ooh,
And in that bathroom moment, she laid there listening to her kids in the other room, and she was in a hotel. And she said she asked God, "I will wait till the morning, but I need you to show me why I live. What is my purpose? Why am I here?" And she said she woke up the next morning and was told she needed to serve children in Africa. And so today she works with a nonprofit on sending sanitary needs to girls in Africa.
wow.
And that's like a huge passion project of hers. So, again, I think we all reach that breaking point, Becca. So, talk to us a little bit about you. I shared a little bit about your childhood, but what was it like growing up in your household? And what was it like for you? Because if you know, like, if you're coaching and you're a motivational speaker, you know that we have several blueprints that were
Hmm.
embedded in us and we were wired from our childhood. And as much as people try to get away from it, the best thing to do is deal with it, to unravel some of that and reset a new blueprint moving forward. So, talk to us about what that used to look like and the work you did to get to where you are today.
Good. So my childhood was quite entertaining. I mean, my parents were musicians when I was born, so I got to grow up around passion and music and the arts. Like there was always live music, there was singing, there was bongos and bonfires, and I just had a really unique childhood from that perspective. I thought everybody had that. So I realized they didn't. But on the other side of that, as I say, my parents flirted with addiction. So there was also, I was the oldest of two. And so there was this aspect of responsibility that I took on for wanting to take care of my parents and my brother, and that in the moments where they might have been partying too hard or something like that. So I grew up with a over sense of responsibility that has fueled me very well in my career. I've been in Fortune 500 sales for 20 years, and I'm highly achieved and awarded and things like that. But at a certain point, how you're saying, like, blueprint, that blueprint had a lot of validation and approval tied into it. And at some point leading up to my bathroom floor moment, I had taken on a regional sales manager role where where it triggered a childhood wound, actually. And they had asked me to reduce myself, like I was too much. And I was new to the role, new to the company, and I wanted to comply. But I don't know how anybody can agree to be 50% of themselves. So it ended up being a really toxic work relationship for me. And after 3 years of doing that, that's when I hit the bathroom floor. And similar to your guest that was on your panel, I hit my knees and I started crying, and I reached out to, like, God, universe, and did that prayer of, like, I don't know what I need to do to change, but I am willing to do things differently. I need a different answer. I can't power through. At that point, I was disconnected in my personal relationships because I was disconnected from myself. I didn't have the depth of relationships that I wanted with my kids or my husband. So I was in a really fragile place. And, similarly, I got an answer back, and that's where the book came from. And a lot of where my passion now is for women is I heard a message that was given to me from a VP of sales when I resigned from Dell to go to this company. He then told me back in 2013 that I was the CEO of my own life. And he was really proud of me for following some of my own mantras and missions and things like that. And so there I was on the bathroom floor, realizing that I had overextended myself, realizing that I was tied up in approval and validation from other people and all of those things. And then whoop, straight to the forefront, you are the CEO of your life. And I'm like, yes, like that, there it is. And it gave me enough energy to rise.
Yeah, that's beautiful, because I think it's very powerful what you just said, and for all of the listeners to hear that, which is you are the CEO of your own life. And we talk about that a lot on this show. You get to make choices. The choices that you make are yours and yours alone. No one else out there can tell you what you can or can't do, even if you work in corporate. And I know, because I was there for 3 decades, I know what it's like. I know what it's like to think that, well, yeah, I don't have choices, but we do. And it really isn't until you change your mindset and realize that you're in control of your life and no one's coming. And the word that we use in Lead Up for Women is, to lead, with permission. You have to give yourself permission to be able to lead up in your life, right? So you're the one that can or can't give that permission to yourself to either have the life that you desire or not. And anyone that has excuses of why they can't, or they're just that, they're made up. It's not real. I don't know about you, Becca, but I have met so many people since flunking out of corporate, since dropping out, since leaving, since quitting, since doing all of that and starting my own businesses. I can tell you the one common denominator that I hear from someone in corporate America today that is like, oh my gosh, you're so lucky. I wish I could do that. And it's like, A, luck has nothing to do with it. And B, you can. The first thing they say is, no, I can't afford it. And it's like, well, how I afforded it. How come you can't afford it? You just have to know. It's about getting your ducks in a row and knowing what you have to do to make something happen. It's no different than starting a business and knowing what your goals are. So if you put a boat in a harbor, right, and you press drive, 10 times out of 10, it's never going to hit its destination because you never put the coordinates in. It's just going. But if you put the coordinates in, 10 times out of 10, it's going to reach its destination. And what do you think is going to happen along the way? There's going to be some rough seas. It's going to get off course a little bit, but then come back onto course. Like, this is what happens in our lives. It's not smooth sailing every single day, right? It's not.
Absolutely
And
not.
for
Absolutely not.
you, yeah, for you to recognize the validation that you had, I think I had a lot of that in corporate America, where I was always looking outside myself for someone to promote me or, celebrate me or award
Yes.
me. And that is why we are high achievers, because the more achievement, the more reward, the more achievement, the more reward. And so that's what you were going for, which usually someone coming from that blueprint is a high achiever and can create a very successful entrepreneurship business if you're a high
Absolutely.
achiever.
And there's something that I want to share with you based upon you giving permission. Like, I love that. That's a big part of my own talk track too, with my clients and how I go about talking about things. But there's this permission for and. So if there are listeners that are in that corporate role and saying what Colleen was just saying, like, oh, I can't do this. I need the stability of this. One of the most powerful moments that came to me during this space that I was in, that I refer to as the dark years now, but what it is when I gave myself the permission for and I call it the power of and. But it was like, I had started getting certified as a Kundalini yoga teacher while working at corporate. Right. And I had all my corporate people. I mean, I'm a regional sales manager, making 6 figures. They're like, what are you doing? Like,
What's up
you're
with
not,
the yoga, Becca?
yeah, that's not going to be a sustainable income for you. And I was like, I don't know that I was doing it to like bail from my corporate job. I was a passion of mine. And then on the flip side of that, I had my yoga community telling me that, oh, I bet you can't wait to quit your corporate job because it's killing your soul. And I'm like, but I kind of like my career. I'm in a bad role for myself right now, but I enjoy my career. And so I felt that pulling happening. And the moment I gave myself permission to be both a corporate badass and, a Kundalini yoga teacher, I felt myself expand. And then I gave myself permission to also write a book and have coaching while I'm still working in a corporate life. I gave myself permission to be a good mom while I pursue everything. So I didn't have this inner division happening. All the different, I call it the multifacets of us as women, had a place to like hang out together and to be one with that permission.
Yeah, we wear a lot of hats. We have a lot of identities, and I think we should celebrate all of them. And the one we're talking mainly about today is prioritizing yourself. So, how do you prioritize yourself, Becca?
I have two things I want to say, but I'll start with one, just a more direct answer to that question. And that is, by how do I prioritize myself on a daily basis, is listening to my body. Um, our bodies carry so much of our truth, and because they're with us all the time, we dismiss them. And I'll just give an example. Back when I was in like those years, I had a pain that went from behind my left ear that hooked below my left shoulder, and all of it was super tense. If I had listened to my body then, I would have been able to recognize that something was wrong. But I was like, oh, maybe I heard it at the gym and it's just not healing, or something like that. And the best way I've started to be able to prioritize myself is listen to the signs of my body, and then give myself permission to say no if I'm overextending myself, give myself permission to not, take on a new project if I don't have the capacity to. That's, more of the simple answer, but hard to
I
do.
love that. We talk a lot about the prioritizing yourself on a regular basis, meaning there should be some time in your day, whether it be, if you could have infants, you could not have children. It doesn't matter if you have children or not have children, because I even talk to my daughters about this with my grandchildren and say, you should never be getting up at the exact same time as your children. And I know that you're going to bed late and getting up early, but you should be the first one up to have some time to yourself. I don't care if it's time that you want to just sit there and have some tea, and look out the back window or read a book. I spend my time walking in the morning with my husband. We get up every morning, 5:15. We walk for 2 miles every day.
That's
Then I
awesome.
come back and it's just dark out, but we talk and walk. And it's not like running, or I used to do marathons. I'm not there anymore. That's not what I do. We just walk at a nice brisk pace. I come home, make my coffee, come into my office, I read, I journal my gratitudes. It's, the first hour or two of my day are for me. I
I
don't
love
look at
that.
my phone. I don't check my emails. I don't get behind my desk. Everyone knows that you could text me, but I'm not going to return your text until I sit down at my desk, unless it's an emergency with one of the kids. But I need that time to kind of get my mind straight, because I don't believe, Becca, in any human that we pop out of bed every day just energized, thriving, that today's going to be hurrah, today's going to be the best day. We need to like get the, Pitocin going in our bodies. We need to get the endorphins moving. We need to get like our blood pumping. We need to be grateful and spend time in gratitude. We need to educate our minds with the great mindset and books that help put you in the right mindset for the day, whether it be about Secrets of the Millionaire Mind, or how to embrace your feminine energy, or words from God, whatever those are that you read in the morning. If you're reading the Bible, if you're, whatever it is, it should be positive, and that should set ourselves up for the day, and not feel that by default we're just supposed to wake up in a great mood.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed. There was a second part that I think might be more tangible for the listeners that I want to kind of go into, and I think
Let's
that
do
maybe
it.
you'll enjoy it too. But in the book that I wrote, it's in chapter 3, but I built what I call the ladder of self-worth. And it's really helped me give a framework for me to keep myself prioritized, but also, again, the women that I work with, because I think that's one thing, is that we never really got taught how to do it, or where are we? Where are we?
No.
Where
No,
are
we
we?
didn't get taught, because if you're anywhere close to my age, so I'm going to say if you're anywhere like, let's just say 40 to 60 age range, your mom raised you the same way your grandma raised you, the same way your great grandma raised you, which was they ate last. They didn't do anything to fill their cup first. It was selfish to take care of yourself first. Like that was our world, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
Colleen. Yes. And so, I'm going to bring the listeners back to my bathroom floor. So like when I'm on the bathroom floor, like if you take the analogy of me sitting on the bathroom floor and looking up, I knew that I was at the bottom,
Mhm.
metaphorically and in real life, right? And I started the next couple days giving myself a framework. I'm like, I got to get up to the top, but I don't even know what the top looks like. And that's when I created the ladder of self-worth. And I'm like, okay, I need to be at the top. I knew that. And then I was like, well, what comes second? And then I was like, it has to be the universe, God, whatever. And I was like, okay. And then what as after that? And then I'm like, oh, that should be immediate family, whether you have kids or parents or something, that first level of immediate relationships, and then other people. And this is a mind flip for some people because they're like, no, 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 this has to be higher up. But last on the list was the career, the money, the beliefs, and things like that. And what I want to share with the listeners, and using your word permission, as I gave myself permission to be at the top of that list and let the universe, God, support me, the most magical and miraculous things started happening. My connection with my kids and my husband started deepening. I started being able to realize, I was mentioning my body before, but I was starting to realize what stresses me out and what brings me more ease. And I was able to make decisions from that place. I was able to realize that that job wasn't a fit and choose another one. From that space of choice, I did get in alignment with myself, and I ended up making more money. Like, and I wasn't chasing money. I was just prioritizing myself, and my world started unfolding really beautifully. So I thought you'd probably like
Yeah.
to hear that.
It's great advice. It's great advice to the listeners, because I believe I was reading this morning in my wisdom book was the second commandment is love thy neighbor. So, and the three things they talked about is you cannot love God, love yourself, and love your neighbor. Those are a triangle. You cannot remove one of them. You couldn't possibly love God if you don't love yourself. You couldn't possibly love your neighbor or God if you don't love yourself. You couldn't possibly love thy neighbor if you don't believe and love God or yourself. So it's this triangle. And the very first thing is, and which is everything God wants. And I know there's a universe out there, but the energy that I feel from the universe is God, and who I talk
Yes.
to and pray to, and who I talk about all the time. So for me, if I don't love myself, how could I possibly love anyone else? How could I be in a relationship with someone else? How could I be married to someone else? How could I love my kids? And you should never love your kids more than you love yourself, ever. You should always love, because God only wants you to love yourself first as much as he loves you. I think it's an important piece that we need to
I really think
impress
so
today.
too. And it was an important part of my healing and my expansion,
Yeah.
because, I believe in God, in God too, as far as how I approach it. And um, at first I was like, should God be first or should I be second, as I was kind of building this. And a lot of my friends were like, God first. And I was like, wait a second. I'm a mom. I got 4 kids. If I'm a child of God and I'm a mom, just putting it in that framework, I would never want my children to sacrifice themselves for me. I would want them to prioritize themselves. I would want them to come to me and say, Mom, here's my goals, here's my aspirations. And I can say, let's go. Here's how I can support you and help you rise. And I said, if I don't give God that opportunity to support me, then I'm doing a dishonest to myself and to my relationship. I need to be able to prioritize myself first. And so that kind of gave me the permission in my head to be first on the list.
So true. I agree with you. And so, listeners, if there's one nugget you need to take from today, is this: no matter where you are in your life, if you are not at the top of that rung, then you need to switch some things around in your life. And so, we talk about the 7 F's a lot, right? Fun, friends, finances, field, which is your career, fitness, family, all of these, faith, right? All of these are important in our life. All of these are part of our life. And I look at them like gas gauges. Is some of them empty? I don't believe in balanced life. And I know a lot, we always talk about having the balanced life, but I feel like it's almost impossible to be fully balanced, because there's always going to be one that's a little empty. And that one that's empty is the one you should be focusing on in that moment. So I couldn't possibly spend time on my faith, my family, my career, my finances, and everything in 1 hour, right? Or in even 24 hours, by the way. I have 7 kids and 11 grandkids. That's almost impossible, right? For me to do that. But Sundays are more focused on faith, right? My mornings are more focused on faith, not my family. And then I have certain days during the week that are focused on family, certain days that a week that are working, focused on my career, certain days of the week that are focused on my fitness, right? And maybe those are 3 days a week, and I do those on days that I'm also focusing on my career or focusing on time with my family, which is great. But take advice from Becca today and put yourself first. Pour into yourself by whatever it is that you love to do. And I always say, if you want to change your schedule and go down and watch a movie today, go do that. If you want to go to your favorite spot and grab your favorite salad today because you just love eating this salad, and or you want to drive down and get a frozen yogurt for dessert, go get it. Do something for yourself that makes you happy, that fills you up. Whatever that might be. I took one of my grandsons to school this morning because I started doing that every week because I just want to be participating more in some of their activities and fun things. It doesn't take me very long, but it's a commitment that I want to make because it fills me up, and it's something that helps me with my family bucket.
Love that.
So Becca, tell our listeners, how can they reach you? Do you have anything for them today? How can they reach you on social media? I know we have all your handles out there at their fingertips for them to click on, as well as on Facebook on the video. If you guys want to see Becca's beautiful face, you can go over to our Facebook page at Lead Up for Women. But talk to me about how they can find you. What's the best way to follow you and connect with you?
Great. So the best way to follow me, my handle is the same on all my platforms. So it's nice and easy. I'm on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram. It's at Becca Powers 1313. My website is beccapowers.com. If you do / podcast freebies, you'll be able to get a nice self-assessment, which will kind of let you know where you are on that priority list. And there's also an article that I wrote that's helps you to create change when you're feeling stuck. So if you get some results from that assessment and you're like, I need to make change, there's a supporting document there. So
yeah, and I just want to tell the listeners, listen, we all get stuck at some point in our life. Like I said, it's not smooth sailing all the time. The power in that is knowing what to do when you do get stuck and how to get yourself unstuck, right? So surround yourself with a strong tribe of people that fuel your success, that cheer you on, that are there for you, that believe in you, and get rid of the ones that don't. I'm telling you right now, they will poo-poo all over you and they will suck you down. So get rid of them. That's number one. Becca, thank you for being with us today.
Thank you.
I'm honored to have you. And remember, ladies, you are the only you that's ever been. You are the only you that will ever be. So how you pioneer your future is up to you. Lead without permission. You do not have to ask permission from anyone else. It's your choice. No one's coming. So choose you and prioritize you today. And until next time, ladies, be you and be strong. Take care now. Bye-bye. And as soon as I get the